Morning. It's Wednesday, August 3rd. And I've been watching the news and the talk about Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. And what do you think it means for U.S.-China relations? Why is her visit to Taiwan such a big deal? So I tried to find out. And this trip, Nancy's proposed trip, could risk an actual armed conflict, which in my mind seems crazy. After all, China has reached its great economic success mainly because the U.S. led the way for companies to do business in China and help China establish a decent cost of living for their people. Without the investments that the U.S. made in China, China would be a much poorer nation. But they have forgotten that, I believe. And they have risen to the point where they want to be the number one power of the world. And I can understand that, And their actions in the South China Seas, with taking over and building military installations on the islands in the South China Seas, have gotten their neighbors very upset with them. So we can't forget their actions to countries around the world. Anyhow, getting back to Pelosi's visit, she will be accompanied by a military support, and that's according to Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. If she goes, she will be the first Speaker of the House since Newt Gingrich in 1977 to visit China. We must all understand China's view of the world and of China as a part of the world. China believes in the one China principle. It regards the self-ruled island as a breakaway province, that's Taiwan, and views to take it back by force if peaceful reunification fails. The officers in Beijing view any official contact between Taiwan and a foreign government a violation of its sovereignty. Now, the U.S. agrees with China on that. The U.S. recognizes that China is the sole legitimate government of China, and it acknowledges that its position on Taiwan is correct, that Taiwan is part of China. But under the Taiwan Relations Act of 1979, the U.S. provides defensive weapons to Taiwan. So while they believe that Taiwan is part of China, they also believe that it has a certain independence. And the U.S. is prepared, in some way, shape, or form, to honor the independence of Taiwan. And that is a tricky situation. And so I believe that when Pelosi goes to Taiwan, she heightens China's sensitivity toward this strange relationship that exists within Taiwan. Because Taiwan governs themselves. They really don't have any day-to-day interface with China. And so you've got these three pieces. Independent Taiwan, part of China, agreed that it's part of China, but the United States recognizes its independence. And so China has taken a position that Pelosi's trip is a provocation and a move that supports Taiwan's desire to be totally independent. And can you blame Taiwan for total independence? Can anybody blame them for wanting to be totally independent? They probably don't get much from China anyhow right now. So while the military leaders in this country had advised Pelosi not to go, it wasn't a good idea to go right now, the President of the United States is not the boss. He does not control her. He has no say over anybody in Congress or anybody in the Senate. The President's sole responsibility to this country is to run a unified government and maintain the system of democracy, which has, as we all know, three separate pieces. And his primary function is supposed to be foreign policy more than controlling the antics of those who work in Congress and the Senate and the Supreme Court. So while Biden doesn't necessarily agree that Pelosi can go, he has no official capacity in which to stop her. But he could explain that since he is the one responsible for foreign policy in this country, that he feels that she should not go because of its effect on foreign policy. Now, maybe he has tried to do that, and maybe Pelosi has ignored him. But it seems to me that if she's ignoring him, she must have a good reason for ignoring him. And we don't know what that good reason might be. And maybe she thinks that his handling of China and his foreign policy stinks. So who knows? But logically, if I look at this logically, and the president's primary function in the government is to sort of wield some kind of control over the three branches, but basically he's the leader in our foreign policy situation. He's the master diplomat in this whole country. And so it seems strange to me that if Pelosi goes, she is defying Biden in some way, shape, or form. And maybe she feels that somebody has to stick a dagger in the heart of China somehow to take them down a notch. Who knows? This is a very, very tricky situation. We are already at odds with China over many things. And many of those things were exacerbated by President Trump with his tariffs and everything against China. And I don't know that Biden has dug us out of that hole yet. So this whole diplomatic situation with Taiwan and China is very serious. And let us not forget that Taiwan is the chip capital of the world. And we depend on those chips till we get our act together. So I leave you with those crazy thoughts this morning, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.